I guarantee you, YouTube, that some of you have questioned the logic of this game many, many, many times. And after today, you're going to understand why I have zero faith in the logic of NCAA College Football 25.
I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here, try to clown. I never pipe down. If they weren't coming for me, then they definitely coming for me now. Use your common sense. Why is NASA Park Department of Defense? They divided up the seas into 33 degrees, feeding kids masonry. Bro, be careful what you read. Flatline. There's no superior bloodline. Flatline. You got me once, but that died. Hey, boy.
All right, YouTube, I'm back. So today I'm pretty fed up. I'm pretty frustrated. And the reason why is because when I look at this game and I think about the issues with the just piss poor logic that this game has, it drives me insane. So I'm following a Facebook group, a college football, EA College Football 25 Facebook page, and one day I made a comment. I posted a comment on it, and it was questioning the logic of the game. And the reason why was because I had a running back. It's a pretty good running back, and he was rated pretty good. He was, low 90s, I think, low to mid 90s. So he wasn't a terrible running back. He was a really good rated quarterback. And my issue was that for some reason, so this guy, he was the Heisman winning trophy 3 years in a row. I mean, I was able to put up the yardage that was needed to be able to catapult him to the highest award in college football for 3 years in a row. And the reason why this really kind of, jabs at me is because during the recruiting, I noticed that whenever someone had a deal breaker for their pro potential, like my grade was always pretty low. And there'd be some guys that I wanted to recruit, and I would have had a pretty good chance of recruiting them because they were in my pipeline, but they had a deal breaker of pro potential. And because my pro potential grade was so low, I never really had a chance to get those guys. So I'm mad, and I'm like, what is the reason why I can't increase my pro potential? Like, what do I have to do in order to increase my pro potential? So someone said that then you got to have players that get drafted into the NFL. So I'm thinking, okay, well, this next season I should be good because my running back, he's a senior, and he is, top notch. He won the Heisman for 2 years, and he's pretty close to winning it again for a third year. There's no way this guy's not getting drafted. So I go through, and he wins the Heisman Trophy for his third year in a row. And it wasn't like this was a low-rated player, and I was basically just cheesing him to get a lot of yardage. I mean, yeah, I'm good at what I do, running the ball with him. And I mixed up with the pass. I did run a lot, but I didn't run the ball any more than any other, player does. Any other, realistic player does. The average, I think he was pulling about 220, 215, 225 carries for the season. And, in real life, that's probably about average. The average running back runs about, carries the ball about 170 to 200 carries per season. So it's not like I was that far over. Yeah, it was higher than the average, but it still was within that bounds. It wasn't like I was running, running 300 times, 400 times a season. So the yardage was legitimate. And like I said, he was a pretty high rated player. So when the end of the season comes, he wins a Heisman again, and I go through to begin the draft, or the seniors graduating and leaving, and what happens? He does not get drafted. So that really pissed me off, because if anyone on my team should have or could have been drafted in the NFL, it should have been him. And the reason why I feel like this is just poor logic within the game is because there's no way in the world that a player could win the Heisman 3 years in a row and not get drafted. That's just impossible. And I know that, that even if you look at the history, so I think there were there's like two, maybe three players that won the Heisman that didn't get drafted. But there definitely wasn't anyone that won the Heisman twice that didn't get drafted, and much less 3 times. So if you've got a player that wins the Heisman multiple years, how can the game not put them as, how can the game not justify them as being drafted, as getting drafted by the NFL? Because no NFL team, there's no way that a player who won the Heisman is not going to get drafted. Now, the player may be a bust, but someone's at least going to take a chance and draft this player. And if he turns out to be a bust, he turns out to be a bust, and the team rebounds from that. So the logic in itself just makes no sense. So let's go and fast forward to today. So my defensive line is probably the best defensive line in this game. And I don't control my defensive line. I control the linebackers. And when I go through and I look at my players, my, end of the year awards, player awards, let's go to my defensive players, my defensive line. So defensive player of the year, all right, is my right end, defensive end, Amari Odeyingbo, however you say his name. And I even have a couple of more defensive linemen that are, in the top 5. So Patrick Ornberger and Woodside, they're, in the top, round out the top 5 for the defensive player of the year. But Amari Odeyingbo is the college national defensive player of the year. Now we go to Lombardi Award. Who wins the Lombardi Award? We've got Amari Odeyingbo. Then we've also got Woodside and Ornberger also rounding out the top 5 for that award. Now we skip to Best Defensive End. Best Defensive End, we've got who wins the award? Again, Amari Odeyingbo. And Patrick Ornberger is number 3. But Odeyingbo is the Best Defensive End award winner. So I've got this one player that has won 3 awards, 3 National Player Awards, and he's a senior. But we have a logic issue, because when I go down to my All-Americans, I mean, this guy won 3 Defensive Player Awards as a senior, and he actually won those awards as a junior as well. But let's see if he's an All-American. The ends, you've got Harriman and Branham. No Odeyingbo. So maybe the game, I don't know, they just don't like Appalachian State. Just not a big enough school. So they're probably second team. So let's go to second team. Let's go down to defensive ends, and no Odeyingbo. So he's not even second team All-American. I don't know, maybe there's a problem. Maybe there's a glitch in the game and he might be listed as a freshman. So let's go down to the freshman. All right, nope. No Odeyingbo. So how in the world does this player, does a guy who wins 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards and is not even an All-American? But there's more.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
Let's go down. Defensive end. Sorry, that's freshman. So let's go down. Defensive end, first team all conference. No Odeyingbo. I mean, but he's got to at least be second team. So let's go to second team all conference. Let's go down. I already see Hendricks down as the first one. So what we got? Nope. He's not even second team. And we already saw freshman all conference. So not even there. You can't make this ridiculousness up, because there's no way that he should be able to win 3 awards, 3 National Player of the Year awards, and not be an All-American. Make it make sense, EA. Make it make sense. The logic that this game has for progression of players in different situations is completely out of whack. And it's what makes the game, it's what makes you lose a little bit of luster for the game. And it's not that I love this game, because it is a completely broken game. I mean, I won't say it's completely broken, but it is a broken game. And it is a game that has issues. But I'm kind of stuck because I can't go back. I bought, the last game that I played was NCAA 13. Before that, of course, it was 12. 12 was the last game that I bought new. And then after that, it was years before it was. I bought 2013. I bought NCAA 13 this summer, a few months ago, and that was really the first time. I think I rented it on Redbox, from Redbox when it came out, but I didn't buy it because I had already, started boycotting the game and saving my 65. I just knew that I wasn't going to buy the game anymore. But I bought 13, but these games are so outdated, I can't enjoy them like I used to. Now that you have a game that has a little bit more bells and whistles to it. So it hurts. It hurts that I can't go back. And it's not, the game is not complete, utter trash. But it has so many problems that you can't really get immersed in the game like you could the older ones. Because there's so many issues like this. Because I should have been excited to have, my former running back, I should have been excited to have won the Heisman, and then was able to see him get drafted into the NFL. I should have loved to have been able to witness that as a coach. But I couldn't, because they decided that they didn't want to put a logic system within the game that makes sense. So what do you guys think about it? You know, do you see the same kinds of logic issues within the game? And we're not, and this is not even talking about the, you know, I'm not forgetting the coaching on Road to Glory. I don't even play Road to Glory anymore. I started playing it when I got the preview, or the I forgot what you call it, but I got the, I didn't pre-order the game, but I played the preview, and after that, during that trial, I did play Road to Glory. But once I finally bought the game, I was like, I don't really want to play that mode anymore. But one of the things that I did enjoy the mode a little bit more than the previous installments, but the thing that took me out of it was just the poor coaching logic. I mean, I can't call the plays on my own, but I've got a college coach that's making the dumbest calls in the world that a 5-year-old peewee player, football player, would be able to call a better game, better offensive game than those coaches do in the Road to Glory. But there's just so many huge logistical issues, it makes no sense. So, you know, what do you think? Do you see those same things, those same issues happening in the game? If you do, put them in there in the comment section. This is Logan Oren, the Troll for Truth. Why? Because the truth should mean something. And it should.
Trolls, roll out.